Bonjour à toutes, bonjour à tous. Hello everyone. Bienvenue, welcome to the Pérignon Masterclass.
Hey, hey.
So, dear friends, I'm really pleased and honored to share this Pérignon Masterclass with you today. I'm Estelle Touzet. I'm sommelier consultant in the luxury industry, CEO of Estelle Touzet Consulting, consulting agency in wine management and hospitality. First of all, let me introduce you to Vincent Chaperon. Vincent, you are Dom Pérignon chef de cave since 2019, that's right?
Yes.
However, your story or love story with the maison began in 2005.
Long time training.
We met each other a few years ago in Auvillers, in the Champagne area. We have a great time shared together, and I'm really happy to be here today with you. And once again, we create a nice team. So thank you for your trust. Thank you, Vincent. Then I'm delighted to introduce you Ferran Centelles. Ferran, after many years as a sommelier at El Bulli, you are now wine director at El Bulli Foundation, a foundation promoting gastronomic, creativity, and innovation. It's a great pleasure to see you again in Paris this time and share this amazing masterclass.
Thank you. Buenos días, good morning. Thank you, Estelle. Thank you.
Bienvenue, Ferran. And I also want to have a word for Xavier Thuizat, who unfortunately can't be with us today. Xavier is a head sommelier at the Hôtel de Crillon, un restaurant L'Écrin in Paris. And also, since 2022, he's the best French sommelier and Meilleur ouvrier de France. Congratulations to Xavier again. And we worked together with Xavier at the Hôtel de Maurice a few years ago when I was still young. And he was already a promising and funny young talent. Vincent, I have a first question for you.
Estelle.
So why Dom Perignon's involvement with sommelier?
Bon. So first of all, I'm very happy to be there. Very happy. It's a real pleasure. I'm very excited as well, and to see a lot of known faces. Some of you I don't know, so I'm very pleased to meet you for the first time. And before entering into the discussion, coming back to Xavier Thuizat, because he is really at the origin of our presence, Dom Pérignon here. He's a friend. I think he's with Le Crillon the best client of Dom Pérignon, certainly in Paris, perhaps in France. So selling a lot of Plénitude 2 by the glass. And we've been discussing a lot with Xavier on very important topics we share together on the role of your role, the role of the sommelier and his evolution. But as well, we've been talking a lot about the role of Dom Pérignon and the presence of Dom Pérignon in the fine gastronomy. And 1 year, 2 years ago, he was telling me, you have to come. You have to come. You have to tell people, to discuss with people about Dom Pérignon, about your view on sommelier, etc. So, voilà, Xavier is here with us today, I think we all know that your role for us, for fine wine, is key, is super important. You are at a place which is so exciting, so interesting. First of all, you are the actor of the experience on the one hand, and on the other hand, you are as well the witnesses of the experience, of the emotion which is occurring in the restaurant. I think a lot of people in my marketing team would like to be at your place to understand the consumer behavior. We don't need consumer study, you are there. So you are actor and you are witnesses. And in this way, I think your role is very powerful. We need you to discuss and to understand the evolution of consumer behavior and needs because you all know that needs are changing, consumers are changing, and have been changing the past decade. For about 40 years, I am from a Bordeaux family, very traditional wine family. My grandmother was in Pomerol, owning a chateau in Pomerol, so I've been educated in the wine in France, so I've been observing the evolution of, relationship to wine. And there's a lot of variation, but what I observe is that 30 years ago, certainly we were more about the information. Still a little bit in that, but people were waiting for information. Information was not so accessible. Okay, today, everything is here. Consumer, they don't need information, they have access to information. It's still important, but like Einstein was saying, knowledge is more important than information. Information, which is going through experience, is knowledge. And today, people are waiting for different things, for pleasure, for emotion. They want to understand the value of the fine wine they are drinking. They want to understand how to experience it, how to have pleasure. So that's why today, and for about 1 year, together with Xavier, with a lot of you around in the room as well, we worked during 1 year on different directions in order to enhance a discussion with you, a dialogue with you, and to share with you today studies around the notion of experience, the notion of emotion. So we went through 3 directions, 3 approaches. One which was more focused on science, another one which was more focused in the field, in your places, experimentation in the restaurant, in real condition, and another one which was more about a quantitative study, data with the young generation and the students of École de Lausanne.
Thank you, Vincent. So, as you said, you lead 3 different studies. Why this interest for scientific research on emotion?
Yeah, science. So I like to create. We are all sensitive, we have feelings, we test, but first of all, I am an engineer of agronomy, so I love science. And you can't imagine how science is important at Dom Pérignon, at the group Moët et Chandon, which is even bigger, I've been working for before. It's a big group. Research and development has always been there from the beginning. Can't imagine the number of studies, number of investments we are doing. We have a new research lab in Champagne we are doing on science. Science is super important next to intuition, craft, and experience. So we need data. We need objective data. We need analysis in order to complete, our intuition with factual elements. And honestly, to be honest, the first guy who 1 year ago asked us and told us, we need for sommelier, you are a sommelier, Ferran, we need to bring in this study some factual element because that's something which is lacking in our universe. That's you who bring this idea to go on the science, more than science, neuroscience.
So please, Ferran, you are strongly involved in this study with Dr. Pujol from the MRE Research Unit of Hospital del Mar in Barcelona. Can you tell us a bit more about it, please?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, I want to say that it's been a very, very intense year at Dom Pérignon, and we've been working like a lot, and doing some workshops. I'm going to show you here in the screen these workshops with different sommeliers from around the world.
Yeah, a lot of them are there. I see.
Yeah.
Some they are from Denmark, from Japan, from UK.
But it looks like a joke, but imagine 10 sommeliers thinking, in Dom Pérignon, but thinking like crazy and trying to analyze the new challenges, the threats, the future of sommelier that has happened during this year at Dom Pérignon. And thanks to that, well, it was an issue that was constantly there, a question that it worries us, that how we can enhance the pleasure of our guests during the service. Right? Well, okay, we are all sommeliers. We want our guests to be happier, if possible. How we do that, right? That was constantly appearing in our discussions at OBS. And okay, let's be honest. We sommeliers, we are artists, look, yeah? We are very artistic people, yeah? But we are not really scientific people, right? No? Yeah, so we work a lot of hours. It's very intense. We are PR, whatever you want, but we are not scientific ourselves, right? Yeah. But as Vincent was saying, science can help us to understand many things, and one of the things science can do is explain us how pleasure works, right? So that here it came the idea. That was a super cool project. So we went, Estelle, in Barcelona. There is a top research center for brain scan. See, resonancia magnetic resonance. Okay, magnetic resonance. For me, this is to say brain scan. So we understand more or less how it works. See, so we went there at Hospital del Mar. These guys, this research team, they were the first to do neuro scan in Europe. No, they are top people. So we went and meet them. You see here. Well, this was taken with my phone, so it's not super glamorous picture, but it still works. Yeah. So you see more or less how it works, and we show to the volunteers 4 different ways of presenting Dom Pérignon 2012. Okay, you imagine, eh? First of all, conventional. Yeah. After that, emotional, yeah, presenting Dom Pérignon in an emotional way. Third, poetical, yeah, poetry. And fourth, we did a small surprise. Okay, let's focus on conventional versus emotional. Look. First time we sommeliers have this kind of information. This is a real time what happens in your brain when you present a bottle of champagne. Eh? No. I'm excited, eh? No, come on, no. See, because now it's a video, it's very easy, but you can imagine how difficult it is to arrive to those images, eh? So for the first time, we know what brain areas are activated depending on the speech. Crazy, eh? See, I'm happy you're sitting, because if not, you will be falling. No, it's very crazy. So, what happened? See, and what we have discovered, and we'll be publishing then later on. We need to discuss how we show that how we share this information. You see your images here on your left, right? This is conventional versus emotional. Conventional means the what? Hello, this is a Dom Pérignon 2012. This is what is Dom Pérignon? It's a Chardonnay Pinot Noir. What is Dom Pérignon? It's 8 years, 10 years, 8 years, 10 years. Between 8 and 10 years aging. Yeah, it is a beautiful wine. The conventional is what we normally do on the floor when presenting a wine. We talk about the what it is, and it's very easy to talk about the what. You get some information, blah blah blah, and then you repeat it. Yeah. Emotional, it's not about the what, it's about the why. Why is this bottle on the table? Why I'm offering you this bottle? Hello, my name is Ferran Centelles. I've been loving wine since 1999. Hello, I'm Ferran Centelles, I'm the head sommelier, blah, blah, blah. No? I'm the head sommelier is what? Yeah? I've been loving wine, it's me, personal, emotional, since 1999. Yeah? And it's less nose up than I'm the head sommelier. You? Okay? Then, why? Yeah? I'm offering this wine, yeah, because Vincent Chaperon said that 2012 could be a plenitude year and it's a top vintage. Yeah? Or I'm offering this wine because Jancy Robinson said that this is an epic wine, yeah? And myself, I don't have anything better to give you. Look, yeah? See, this is, no.
I like it.
Hey,
I like it.
Eh?
I like it.
No, don't laugh, eh? No, because our speech, the Sommelier speech, has been like, what? The whole life. No, we need to change that, and I'm going to tell you why. See? Okay? Conventional and emotional, yeah? There are some areas in the brain that they are the same activation. They have the same activation. Sorry, I need to read that, because I'm not a scientist, and my memory is a bit bad. So you see here there are the visual area is activated because the guest is looking at us. The temporal lobe for maintaining the conversation is also activated, and the Broca area that helps us to understand what we are talking, right? These are both activated in conventional and emotional, but look the intensity. When we talk emotional, there is more activation, there is more intensity on the activation. See? The areas are the same. Okay, right. But look to the image, amygdala and hippocampus. See, these two areas, they were just only activated. I'm going to repeat that because it's important information. These two areas over there, you see, over there, they were just only activated when we talk emotional. See? And what are the amygdala and the hippocampus? Amygdala is the emotional brain, and hippocampus is the memory brain, more or less. Put it in those words. And why is that important? And what has that to do with pleasure? You know about dopamine? Dopamine, it's a neurotransmitter of pleasure, something that our guest loves and I love to have in my brain. So the pathway where dopamine is more created is in the amygdala and the hippocampus. So if we activate the amygdala and the hippocampus of our guest, they will have more dopamine and they will have more pleasure. See? And we can do that just changing the way we present Dom Perignon 2012. And maybe some other wines they can also do, I don't know, but Dom Perignon for sure, because you know, there is the hotel there. Hello, this is a sommelier science. We need that, it's beautiful, it's crazy. And then the syllabus, we all academics here, the syllabus of the young sommeliers, we need to teach how to do public speech and emotional speech. They also need to do the Grand Cruise of Chablis. But we are there with the guest. We need to teach younger generations how to be more emotional and how to increase the pleasure of our guest. Just the last one, if you want. Another interesting discovery, you see the areas in blue over there? These are areas that were not activated when doing the emotional speech. And these are the same areas that they are not activated when you study. When you study and you are focused in a topic, the brain relaxes in these two areas. And that happens exactly the same when you talk emotionally. That means that they are having more attention on you, on your words. Wow, no? And probably you all know that, but now it's proven, right? And that's cool, no? No, that's very cool, So, from here, some learnings.
We can applaud him.
Sorry, but it's been too intense, and now it's being able to, because they didn't know me to, they didn't allow me to talk about that. It was like, no, you keep it secret. No, I want to talk. No, not even with the family.
Thank you,
Ferran.
Thank you. Just a comment, because looking at you, you understand why he's here with us. So much passion. And I remember 7 years ago when we started working with you and with Ferran Adria, with a good friend. I remember we had a dinner in Champagne. So Ferran, it was even perhaps before, 10 years ago, before he closed his restaurant, or just after. And we started a study on the patrimony of creation of Dom Perignon, analyzing the patrimony of creation. And Ferran came with one question in Champagne. One question, only one question. Why Dom Perignon? Why there is only one Dom Perignon in the world? That doesn't mean this is the best, this is the better. Why there is only one single, unique Dom Perignon in the world? Well, this is the question which have been permanently, animating my dreams and my sleep and my day every day. This is the most important question. So the why. So thank you, Ferran.
Thank you, Ferran. Thank you again.
Thank you. Family, homeworks, You need to read the study, No, come on, it's
We will thank you, Ferran, for this very interesting presentation of your scientific study. You also have led different workshops with international sommeliers, and it was really helpful to define few experiments you drove in different restaurants and different countries. Vincent, could you tell us more about the Japanese study, please?
Yeah. Actually, you see the workshop in Champagne, so which leads to scientific study, but as well which leads to experimentation in the field in your restaurant. So we had experimentation running 1 year in Japan, in France, in Spain at your restaurant, in UK. And so in Tokyo, our friends are here in the room, I don't know where, but they are with us, and thank you to have worked with us during this year. They did at Restaurante Bulgari and at Mandarin Oriental. In Tokyo, they perform different studies. real experimentation on 3 different directions. The first one was coming to what Ferran was explaining, was to change their speech. They moved from facts to more emotional. They introduced a lot of emotional elements in their speech. So they changed their speech during weeks in front of their consumer. The second direction they studied was to introduce gaming. We work during the workshop, we say, all the sommeliers who work with us, they say, well, we need to be more playful. And so one of the ideas, simple, I'm sure perhaps you've experimented before, was to introduce a wine glass choice. So instead of offering the glass for still wine, they were offering different glasses to the consumer. Which glass do you want to choose? In order to open a dialogue and a discussion with the clients. And the third direction they experimented was about to try to move the historical Champagne Barry Center, which is focused on the aperitif, as you know, to try to push it as much as possible to the meal, to the food pairing. This is a fight. We've been running for 20 years. Okay, so you will have access to the detail of the result, but I can tell you, discussing with them, and we have, thanks to them, a very detailed report, that they learned a lot, first of all, a lot. Experimentation, we are permanently experimenting at Dom Perignon. This is a way to improve, to move. Secondly, the sales were increased a lot. But the most important result was about the fact that they were able really to build up, really to strengthen, to solidify, to increase the relationship between with their customer, with their clients, which is the most important. By opening the dialogue, by making them appropriate, the experience, entering into the pleasure, they really improve the relationship with their consumer.
Thank you, Vincent, for this overall. Xavier Thuizat also led some experiments in the restaurant L'Écrin at the Hotel de Crillon in Paris. I will share with you, in the voice of Xavier, some of the key findings. So first of all, Xavier decided to challenge the traditional approach, and put the wine in the very heart of the experiment. Wine first, food second. The meal is built around exactly a reverse process. The meal is built around the wine.
I remember Alain Sandrins. You all know Alain Sandrins. At Lucas Carton, 20 years ago, he was doing that. Yeah. He was doing a Dom Perignon menu. He was choosing the vintage. He was offering the dish, and he was proposing the dish.
And actually, what a better way to use Plénitude 2 at the restaurant L'Écrin to create emotion for the guest. So, as you know, Plénitude 2 is a matter of time. 18 years to reach the quintessence summit of complexity and achieve harmony and emotion.
Sorry, How many of you meet Alain Sandrins? Raise your, yeah. See?
You're too young.
No, no. But this is the father of matching, of modern matching. Yeah, he passed away a few years ago. We can probably give him an applause. Yeah.
Thank you, Ferran.
No props.
So, we have seen, to wrap up, we have seen the scientific research, the study in a restaurant in Japan and in France with Xavier. And finally, we have a third insight from the next generation in hospitality, from student, from
the Y, the Z, the X. Which generation are you talking about?
The new generation, Vincent, from student from École Hôtelière de Lausanne in Switzerland.
I'm too old.
And who has led a quantitative analysis. So I invite you to discover, to see the result of the research in a video. So start now.
We are a group of students from École Hôtelière de Lausanne, and we will present you the key findings of our project on customers' emotion and redefining sommelier's role in the fine dining experience. To better understand the emotional spectrum in a fine dining context, we analyzed 1,000 comments from TripAdvisor worldwide through SPSS and RStudio. The result highlights that 83% of emotions felt at the table are positive, with trust and joy are the most dominating ones. Surprise and excitement score lower. Hence, the need to boost them to exalt the fine dining experience. Moreover, we conducted expert and customers interview to gather more insight on the current industry state. The main findings showed us that a third of the customers were feeling intimidated and confused due to the complexity of the speech. However, most agree that sommelier and the storytelling are essential to the experience.
Let's now talk about the innovations we tested at restaurant 1919 in Tuscany. The amuse set, a combination of amuse-bouche and amuse-drink, turned out to be a success, with 80% of guests who felt surprised. The emotional pairing, which matches wine aromas to emotions, was tried by 46% of guests, and all of them would love to try it again in the future, as they felt surprise, excitement, and joy. The storytelling we worked on include a better use of anecdotes, simplified vocabulary, and simple flavors. 77% of people love to hear anecdotes during the sommelier speech, and amongst the 54% of people who are not confident about wine, all of them enjoy the use of simplified vocabulary to describe the flavors. In conclusion, we can say that fine dining is a theater in which customers are no longer just the audience, but rather an active part of the performance. Sommeliers have the key role to play in order to engage customers in every chapter of the play.
We can applaud them as well.
Yeah. My friends, fine dining is a theater. Okay?
Thank you, Vincent.
And they are not here because, by the way, they have their graduation, because they would have been here, of course.
Thank you to the students from École Hôtelière de Lausanne. So we have explored the three different direction of the study. All the results will be available on the replay of this masterclass on UDSF YouTube page. Vincent, in one word, what is your learning, please?
One word is difficult, no?
Yeah,
Can I ask three or
know.
no?
I challenge you.
Okay. Emotion, emotion, emotion.
You're killing me. All he said. Thank you, Vincent. Now, what's the next step?
Yeah,
this
so,
masterclass?
bon, we've been talking a lot. We feel a little bit thirsty. So you have glasses in front of you, and of course we couldn't come here and be with you without tasting something. But honestly, I've been struggling. Like my son of 13 years old, he was saying, "Papa, I'm struggling." Because after speaking about emotion during the whole session, I was really wondering what to share with you. Of course, I was thinking about the Dom Perignon, champagne, but I think that majority of you have been tasting it before. Some of you have the opportunity with the Grand Thierry to have a Plenitude 2 session in the past days. So no, and Xavier helped me because we discussed with Xavier about it, and he told me, "Now you have to show something people have never tasted before, and perhaps they will never test after." So I'm trying to think about something which is very warm, hot topic for me at the moment. So at the moment, and for about 6 months, I've been working on the assemblage of 2022. 6 months ago, I was in the vineyard. The 17th of August, I started coming back from my holidays to taste the Pinot Noir and the Chardonnay. It was a shock because the vintage was, and we will talk about it, super warm, super dry. I was thinking back to 2003. There's been the shift in Champagne, the consciousness of global warming. And I was tasting, and since then, I've been permanently, during 6 months, thinking about my creative path in order to create or not to create, to be or not to be, Dom Pérignon 2022. So I decided to sample some wines. I can't sample 800 wines, I have a lot, but 3 wines from the winery directly, and I label it for you. and we sent it to the place 2 days ago. 3 still wines, 3 base wines. We are going to test together in order to try to share with you what is the question, what is the pathway every year to create a Dom Pérignon.
Thank you, Vincent. Maybe we will have a nice movie, and all the sommelier team is going to serve you those amazing wines. Please.
So, few images of Dom Pérignon, the vineyard, the abbey. Perhaps some of you had the chance to come, and I invite the other to visit this place, which was built in the 7th century. It's a Benedictine abbey, which is very rooted in the whole history of France. Destroyed 3 times, rebuilt 3 times, where Dom Pierre Perignon, the monk, the Benedictine monk, was living in the 17th century, and where Dom Pierre Perignon not invented the champagne, as we say. It is a legend. But behind the legend, there is something stronger, which is the myth. It is a founding myth. Dom Pierre Perignon is the father of champagne. He is considered by everybody in Champagne as the father of champagne. What does that mean? That means that he is certainly the person who's embodying the better what Champagne is today, what the civilization of Champagne is today, what the terroir, what the history, what the science, what the culture, what the excellence, what the perfection is in Champagne. Because he worked during 40 years at the Abbaye between prayer and work, as the rule, the Benedictine rule, was leading him, ora et labora. In a real life balance, it's an art of living, individual and collective, working and praying and thinking, knowledge, information, practice, experimentation, as we've been sharing today. And during those 40 years, he pushed the envelope of everything: viticulture, winemaking, bottling, maturation. So far that people were talking about the wine of Pierre Perignon in the 18th century, where everybody was only talking about the wine from a place, wine from Aï, wine from Auvillé, wine from Cidry. It was the birth, it was the first brand. People were talking in Versailles, because Louis XIV and Louis XV was drinking his wine. They were talking about the wine from the Père Perignon. So he really went beyond what was done in Champagne. And so we saw some images of a book we have from the 18th century, Traité de la vigne et du vin, which is really showing, which was written by a student of Dom Pierre Perignon in the beginning of the 18th, and which is really showing the principle Dom Pierre Perignon established 300 years ago on the viticulture, on the pressing, and of course, as you know, on the blending, the assemblage we are going to talk about.
Famous blending. Thank you, Vincent. Maybe would you like a tiny more water? It's all right for you? No, you're fine. Okay.
I'm going to drink wine.
So it's past 10 minutes now. Best time to start a very nice tasting. So Vincent, what are we tasting now?
Yeah.
So you talk about it, but please.
Yes, you see the perfect labeling. I've been putting the label on the bottle. So you have two wines on the left, which are single vineyards. Okay, so the first one on the left is a 100% Chardonnay, so single variety from a single vineyard. So it's coming from plots which are in Cramant, so 100% Cramant, Grand Cru. Okay, and it is the lieu-dit les Buissons, Buissons du Levant, Buissons du Midi, Buissons du Couchant. So we are on a single vineyards. Okay. The second one is the same principle. It's a single vineyards, but of Pinot Noir. So it's 100% Pinot Noir. They are all, of course, of 2022, as you understood. And so the second one is a Pinot Noir single vineyards in Auvillé. And it's coming from a lieu-dit, which is Les Prières, Basse Prière, Haute Prière, from the people who've been at the Abbaye, just under the terrace. It's very interesting because it's a very unusual terroir on clay, looking to the east, a very quite cool and cold terroir. And the third one, we'll come back to it, it's more complex. It's what I call a pré-assemblage, I will explain, which is made of, a lot of different plots. It's not the final blend. It's really the moment where I am today in the process of elaboration of my blend. So you are a snapshot, in the curve of the creative process. I am here. I don't know, perhaps at 30-40% of the process. I am here. So you have here plenty of wines, 50-50 Chardonnay, Pinot Noir. There is a blend of 10 different villages, plots coming from 10 different villages, 5 Pinot Noir villages, Aï, Auvillé, Mareuil-sur-Aï, Bouzy, Verzenay, and 5 Chardonnay villages, Chouilly, Cramant, Le Ménil, Avise, and out of the Côte des Blancs, the Cidry village on the Reims Hill. So all Grand Cru and Premier Cru, of course, because Dom Perignon is only picking and using grapes coming from the best of the best in Champagne, Grand Cru and Premier Cru. Voilà.
So about the Cramant, maybe wines, maybe could you tell us a tiny more about the substyle, about the orientation? Yeah, something about this single vineyard.
Yeah, and that perhaps just before, to give you why I choose those wine today. Because I think you know, and you know a lot about the verticality of Dom Pérignon. Richard Geoffroy, my predecessor, invented Enotech and then Plenitude, and we have been talking during 25 years about the verticality of Dom Pérignon. Time is in the equation of Dom Pérignon. Okay, you know that perfectly. Maturation, and Dom Pérignon has been communicating a lot on that. Okay, but what about the horizontality of Dom Pérignon? What about the space? What about the vineyards of Dom Pérignon? I think we've been communicating very small information about it. And so this is as well a way for me today to really to tell you again the chance I have as a cellar master. I am from Bordeaux again. The chateau of my grandmother was 10 hectares, 15 hectares. It was huge for Pomerol. I'm playing, my friends, on vineyard of 800 hectares of Grand Cru and Premier Cru. The playground of Dom Pérignon on, vineyard is 800 hectares potential, because I'm selecting, I'm moving, I'm changing. It's huge. It's huge. It's so huge that you can't imagine it. You can't imagine it. Even I've been working 20 years on it, I'm still discovering. It doesn't exist out of Champagne, out of Dom Pérignon. It is the biggest qualitative vineyard, I think, in Champagne, of course, but certainly in the world. So I'm saying that with a lot of humility, because it's a real chance. And I will tell you, I'm working so much on it because we are not at the level of that vineyard. We will never be at the level of that vineyard. We need to work to understand the terroir, etc. So we are working so much on that today.
800 plants. So how do you manage
that? It's more than 800 plots actually, because there are smaller plots than 1 hectare. But yeah. So that means that I'm always repeating that the assemblage, you have to forget the image, of winemaker being in the months of February, March in a white room, having all the still wine. This is one part, the part I am today at the time I'm speaking to you. But I've been blending for 6 months. Why? Because when you start from more than 1,000 plots, what are you doing? You blend plots, you blend grapes, then you blend GOCs, then you blend still wines. So I've been permanently for about 6 months, pre-blending in order to progressively build the components, the future components of my future blend 2022. So that means that 6 months ago, I was starting gathering some grapes. And gathering grapes, I was projecting myself in the direction I wanted to embody in 2022. Oh, I'm going to gather those plots because I think that they are giving some freshness and precision. It will be used with other plots with richness in order to perhaps embody the concentration of 2022, which was a very dry year. So it is a very progressive and permanent, pre-assemblage I've been doing.
Yeah,
you test, no? You
yeah,
test, no?
Please.
So I understand that it's not a very easy exercise, and it's I will give you a clue. Play it with contrast. That means that test the Chardonnay, go to the Pinot Noir, come back, and you will see that with contrast, you will better understand the differences. So Chardonnay, what do you think, Ferran, Estelle? Cremant.
Maybe Ferran, would you like to have a word about the Cremant?
No, with the Cremant, I was expecting still more verticality here, and I found kind of a creamy and beautiful texture, and Cremant for me it's always kind of Chablis style of champagne. Sorry, no.
Yeah,
I'm not passing the test with this sentence, but
no, Cremant,
we understand, no?
Cremant for me, Cremant for me, it's like AI for the Pinot Noir. Cremant for the Chardonnay, for us in our vineyard, it's like AI for the Pinot Noir. That means they are the big boys. They are the big boys of the villages where we are, because you have quite good slopes in Cremant, like in AI. You have good exposure. You have chalk, pure chalk, and so you eyeball in those villages. Cremant for Chardonnay and AI for Pinot Noir. year after year to reach richness, concentration, boldness. So certainly, if we compare it to Avis, to Le Ménil, to Sillery, etc., it will be certainly one of the most powerful Chardonnay wine we have in our winery.
A word about the subsoil and orientation maybe in common.
Yeah, so perhaps some of you know the Château de Saran, which belongs to Moët-et-Chandon. So it is the beginning of the northern part of Cramant vineyards. We are on this lieu-dit called Les Buissons, Buissons du Midi. And there is variation of orientation because it's it's a kind of hill. It's going like that because the slope is not linear. There is a movement, and so there is different orientation, but it's pure chalk, so 90%. And I'm consider this lieu-dit as really the heart of Cramant. We are in mid-slope, best orientation, good wind, in order to dry out when there is a little bit of humidity, which was not the case of 2022, of course. So yeah, it's quite rich compared to what we can do in other year, like I don't know.
It's because of the vintage, no? This richness, no? Maybe.
Yeah, 22. I've been talking about 22 a little bit. Honestly, you know about the global warming. You know that it's not only about warming, but it's extreme. Extreme conditions are accelerating. So there is more and more extreme condition. And 2022 was not only the heat wave, but it was dry. It was one of the driest vintage we ever had. It was in France, totally, it was 50% less rain than an average, vintage of the past decades. In Champagne, it was 30% less. So the vineyard was not blocked, but honestly, there were huge impact on the diversity of behavior of the different village and plots. Why? Because when the vine globally in Champagne is missing water, the minimum water you can have in August with storm, because in Champagne it's storm, 5 millimeters, 10 millimeters can change dramatically, the trajectory of maturation of vegetative growth in a plot compared to the other. So what I'm telling you is that there were in August some storms which are very localized and which were giving 5-10 millimeters on perhaps 1 kilometer square, and the parcel and the villages 1 kilometer away, they didn't receive any water. So when I tested the grapes in August, I realized that very close to each other, between A and Marais, for instance, you had sometimes 3 to 4 weeks of difference from one plot to the other in terms of maturity. There were some grapes which were ready to pick the 17th of August this year. And some other, the plot next, a little bit further, you had to wait 3-4 weeks because it was vegetal, it was herbaceo, it was not. So a huge difference due to the water. So this was the first information I put in my head in order to project the blend, to understand the diversity of trajectory, to try to separate, to try to have a different picking strategy in order to, again, to build my components.
So we discover a Cramant with a powerful profile, intense, racy, creamy. Now with the Ovillé, with a single vineyard, Les Prières, which is a historical one. From
Ovillé. I'm playing a little bit with you because I don't know if you have the same impression, but when you come to Cramant to Ovillé, you're a little bit, because Pinot Noir, here the Pinot Noir is playing the role of the Chardonnay. The Pinot Noir has more salinity, more freshness than the Cramant. So I give you a very bold and rich Chardonnay, and I give you a very precise and saline and vibrant Pinot Noir. So I'm a little bit playing to show you that nothing is caricatural. When we say Pinot Noir, blah, blah, Chardonnay, blah, blah, blah. No, it's much complex, of course, And so this is a very special Pinot Noir for two reasons. First of all, because Dompierre Perignon himself was vinifying this plot. We still have 15 hectares of the historical vineyard of the Abbaye. Dompierre Perignon, when he arrived, he had 10 hectares. He multiplied the vineyard per 2. So he had, at the end of his life, he had 22 hectares at the Abbaye. So we still have 15 of this initial, this historical vineyard. And this is one of the parcels, vertical, where Dompierre Perignon was testing the grapes, was vinifying. And so this is, like I was saying, this is clay. So chalk, this is pure clay. Because at the top of the hill of Auvillé, you have 10 to 15 meters of clay. Not on these plots, you have only 1 meter, 2 meters. But if you go up to the Abbaye, which is not in the classification, in the appellation, inside the Abbaye, you have 5 to 6 meters of clay, before reaching the chalk in the subsoil. So clay, so it's very interesting in vintages like 22, because when you have when it is very warm, it's very interesting to have a place where you can wait and you can. It's a cool climate. It's exposed to the east, so there is less sun. You are waiting, and you are able, to really to embody this freshness, to have some freshness in such a vintage.
Thank you, Vincent. It was such a beautiful Pinot Noir, really vibrant, as you said, and we have really a high salinity, sapidity in the palate.
Ferran, what do you think?
I love it, and I like the saltiness and the sapidity it has. Yeah, Auvillés is un Premier Cru, right? Premier Cru, eh? Okay. Who I need to talk with to promote it to Grand Cru myself?
So yeah, it's a good question.
Will you help me to vote for Auvillés being a Grand Cru or no?
So we have a big work to do in Champagne.
No, but honestly,
we have to do a big work to do in Champagne. You know that our classification is quite broad. It's not like in Burgundy. So Premier Cru Auvillé, I don't remember exactly, but the surface of the village of Auvillé is huge. There is more than 300 hectares. And when you know Auvillé, the diversity inside the only classification of Premier Cru is the diversity is huge. Clay, chalk, exposition to the east, exposure to the south. So, voilà. So globally, perhaps it's a Premier Cru because globally, if you do an average, but you know that in wine you don't do an average in wine. So we have plots like that which are east on clay. We have plots. We have 10 hectares which are exposed to the south. On pure chalk in Auvillé, looking down to the Marne River Valley, where we are doing very frequently our red wine for Dom Pérignon Rosé. So you imagine that they are one of the best plots we have, because for red wine we need to reach higher maturity. Voilà. So the classification in Champagne, you have to be careful. Even in the Grand Cru, there is huge diversity. When you are near the forest, of course, it's not as good as when you are in the mid-slope, like in Burgundy. And you have all the good condition.
It's a difficult exercise for me. I mean, to imagine. And one of the things that I was super amazed when I visit you was because now he's talking about palate and tasting grapes. But if you see the lab they've got, I mean, the quantity of information you are getting from the grape juice and the base wine, it's crazy how you match your scientific approach with your palate. I was super amazed.
Yeah. The one challenge we have is the size. 800 hectares. You need to address it like if it was 1 hectare, like a vigneron. So we have 450 vignerons working with us, but nevertheless, we are only for Dom Pérignon for five winemakers already deciding the strategy. Then there are operational winemakers. So we can't be everywhere at every time. So we need as well. We need a lot of data in order to fill. We need to test. We test a lot. We test a lot of grapes, poor teeth. but we have a lot of data. Yeah. And that's something certainly singular and specific to us, to Champagne globally, I think, and to Dom Pérignon, especially that with the resources we have, with the size we are addressing, we have been, I was speaking about research, developing a lot of tools in order to complete. Yeah.
Maybe Vincent, a short word about the pre-assemblage. So you are going to finalize the blend in a few weeks, right? Maybe would you explain I want to say the process, but where are you here now, and what you want maybe to add more, or what is the balance you are looking for, or is it the right balance now?
Yeah, no, I didn't finish, so it's not the right balance. Or you will tell me. No, but what do you think? I don't know, Estelle, Ferran, compared to the two first glasses, or what do you feel?
For me, and honestly speaking, for me it's a crazy difference. Yeah, because in the last one I find much more layers of flavors. Glass number 1 and number 2, they are very nice, but they are a bit monolithic somehow. And here I find more layers, kind of more concentration. Yeah, it's long, deep, and vertical, but also broad and with a beautiful texture. So I see your work here. So it helps me to understand your. Oh yeah. I see it. I can taste. I don't know if you agree or not, but for me it's a huge difference between the two first classes, the first and the second, and then the pre-assemblage.
Estelle,
Yes,
what
as
do you
Ferran said, we really understand your work, and actually it's like in architecture or like in music. So you are the master conductor, and you have to blend and to mix all the different actors, all the different opposites, because between the Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, the Cremant and Haut-Villers, we are really the antipode, the texture and balance.
Tension. It's about tension.
Tension, and now we have a very elegant vision of what you are, what you expect of these different 800 plants. So what a huge work! Bravo.
Thank you for your comments.
No, it's only speaking. And
yeah, they are discovering. They have a pre-test, very quick pre-test before, man. No, but just coming back to the pre-assemblage process, the assemblage creative process. To make it simple, because it's very complex, but I'm trying to maintain for Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, because I'm keeping them separately till the final blend. And I'm trying for each variety to maintain from the vineyard to the final blend 3 different levels of complexity in my components, in my ingredients. So the first level, the most simple level of complexity is a single vineyard. So I have a batch of vats, quite a good batch of vats, which are single vineyards. So they are single player, like we say, very monodirectional, very intense in their character, but certainly not as broad as. So this is the first level. I have a second level, which is intermediary level of complexity, where I have vats where I've been gathering grapes and juices coming from different plots of the same village. So it's monocru wine and monocru vats, but which are starting to be quite complex because it's a lot of plots blended together in the same vats. And I have a third level of complexity. I'm building progressively since the harvest, in the picking, where I have vats which are blend of different villages. So I have Pinot Noir, blend of Hailly and Mareuil, or Bouzy and Ambonnet. So those 3 levels, I'm building them progressively, and I'm leading them, driving them to the final blend. And when I started the blend, I started it, so this is an intermediary product. I started it 1 month and a half ago, at the beginning of January. When I start, I have approximately 80 components, 90. So I'm starting with more than 1,000 plots, and I'm finishing after this construction of component with 3 levels. I'm finishing with 90 different components, and then start the really intuitive and without any end, without any limit, work of creation.
That's the reason why you are always talking to me that blending starts in the vineyards. So a lot of questions, but not too much time. But a last question maybe to Vincent, maybe Ferran.
But can we do it personal?
I am afraid.
No, I want to know. It's a personal question. Well, because your position is beautiful, but it's not easy. Because you need to keep the legacy of the Dom Perignon and the history. You need to keep the great work Richard Geoffroy did for Dom Perignon. Now you are there.
Don Richard.
Don Richard, yeah. Now you are there, and I'm sure you want to express yourself, but you need to keep also the historical profile of Dom Perignon. How are you holding that? Will the style change? Will you put an accent in some of the vintages somehow? I'm
thinking about doing something like Krug. Okay. No, I'm joking.
So oak?
No, you said it. You said it. It's quite a sophisticated balance, but a balance in tension as well, between two polarities, two dynamics, two direction. I'm struggling with, but I'm enjoying as well every day. which is, on the one hand, of course, there is a trace. Of course, that's why I've been learning next to Richard for more than 13 years. And you need time to understand the history, the vision, the philosophy, the terroir. I was telling you, so much plot, so much science, so much information. So there is a trace, very strong trace, as you know, and you know Dom Perignon, we've been testing in, so you see the direction. And on the one hand, but on the other hand, of course, I mean, I am here, and you are here as well, and you know that everything in life is about embodying something. We are here to give our emotion, to put our emotion, our passion in things. So of course, I'm trying to find my way progressively. What will be my stone? So I have some ideas. And it's not something, you know, radical. You start in the morning waking up. No, it's something I've been thinking about progressively, and which is maturating and emerging. But yeah, of course, I will do something different. I will do different things. I will a little bit shift. I will add my own stone to Dom Perignon, keeping the style, keeping the trace, but trying, you know, always to push the envelope, to go beyond. I remember Richard was telling me Dom Perignon is beyond. I let you with this sentence. I never understood.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Ferran. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this passionate time with us. Thank you to everyone. And please, Vincent, maybe it's time to say bye-bye to our friends.
Thank you for everything you do for fine wine. In general, we need you. So let's go. Emotion. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for this amazing time to share together. Thank you, Estelle. Congratulations, Vincent and Ferran. And I remind you, we are expecting here for 11 with Beaujolais Masterclass. In respect of our partner, it's very important to be here. And after the lunch, at 2 o'clock, Cruz and Lorenzetti. And at 3 p.m. or 3:50 p.m., Sake Masterclass too. Okay? And between you have a lunch in the Omami restaurant, and I wish you a very pleasant day. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. And sorry, just another. I would like to thank the volunteers, especially for this masterclass, because it was incredible. David and his team, I think it is just incredible. Thank you so much, and see you later.